trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. She said, you come from a land down under, where women glow and men plunder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
It's been one of them days. What do you think, Flag Man? Has it been one of them days?
Yep, but we're not ready to quit.
We're heading to the place to get the goods. Stay tuned.
I said, do you speak my language? He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. He said, I come from a land down under, where bitters flow and men chunder. Can't you hear that thunder? You better run, you better take cover. Yeah.
All right, guys. How many hours we been riding? 11?
It's a lot.
A lot, right? So, what is
We're
it?
ready to quit.
We're ready to quit, right?
But look what we got out empty.
Oh, gosh. But I forgot to tell Flagman the good news is there's a Ruby Tuesday. I don't know if you like that. Right next door.
Okay, let's get this done. We'll go get something to eat.
Stay tuned, guys.
Can't you hear the thunder? Oh, yeah. You better run, you better take cover.
This is my second job.
Land down under, where women glow and men plunder. Can't you hear the thunder?
Here in the great state of knew where we were at.
Come on. See ya. Land down under, where women glow and men plunder. Women glow and men plunder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
Got a little buddy over here. Let's go over and check him out, Flagman. He's saying, Dowder, come on in the water. They're here. Trying to avoid him. Dowder, come on in the water. There he comes. He's checking us out, Lois. He's coming on out here with us. Oh, you got your own. Dowder, come on in the water. All right, the gator said, diver, come on in the water. You guys tell me how my sound levels are on my wireless mic. I don't want to be peaking and blowing you guys out of the room. But we've got an interesting show tonight. I'll do some shout outs in just a minute. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, metal detector testing. We're going to have some video footage from Treasure Finder 66 and another testimony from a guy on the new Nokta Triple Score update. So we've got some information from Northeast Beach on Florida and the Gulf Coast of Mexico. And we've got video from the Gulf Coast of Mexico new Triple Score beach program being tested by Treasure Finder 66. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I'm going to do a few, appreciate it, Manuel. I'm going to do a few shout outs. We're going to kick over and we're going to look at a very simple test for a few minutes that'll set the stage for the live stream about testing metal detectors. And we're going to get nerded out on metal detector testing, and we're just going to talk all things detectors. And a lot of this goes across brands. It doesn't matter which brand you're using, it applies. So let me do a couple of shout outs first, and we'll get to the heart of this. So we've got Dwayne in here. What's going on, man? What's up, Delta Fresh Relics? Detectondo, Tech Ridge, Treasure Terrain, 10. Sharpshooter's joining us tonight. Me and him's been conversating a few times a day about some different topics with metal detectors and something that he's looking at. And I was talking, about a couple of things that I've been looking at with the Triple Score, etc., etc. Justin, what's going on? We've got None Your Business, West Coast Tech. What's up, Brass Medic? What you think about that button I found? I'm going to show that button to you guys live. I'm going to tell you right now, that is one of my greatest finds ever, and I need a big fat attaboy. I worked hard for that button. 5 days of diving, and I had very few trinkets, but that button made the week. Flagman was beating me so bad, I wanted to get in the boat and cry. He had multiple black glass bottles, this, that. And then I pulled out that button, and that changed the game or the whole dynamics. You know what I mean? It ain't over till it's over. Just remember that when metal detecting or diving or whatever you're doing looking for the treasure, it ain't over till it's over. What's going on, Lance? What's going on, West Coast? Ricky? Let's see, Whistling, what's going on, man? Good. I appreciate it, David. Good. What's going on, buddy? Still there? What's up, Jay? Dan? Ron? Blasted Cat, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the money. Hey, I appreciate the dive trip gas money because it's going there. Workman Adventures, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Workman's Adventures? So let's talk just a few minutes about metal detector testing, and I'm going to show a video, just a very simple test to illustrate what I'm trying to say here. So I have a test garden, which has been out there for years now, and I have silver coins, rings in it, I have buttons, pewter buttons, I have bullets, I have etc. laid out in there. And I test metal detectors on it. And it is mild to moderate soil. My soil is mild, but I have friends who have moderate. So I want to set this stage real quick. And I was talking to TN about this a little bit earlier. And I talked with other testers. So it's like we have a group around the United States that we talk with. We've got Brass Medic on the West Coast. We've got Iffy on the East Coast. TN up around Tennessee. And me here in the Carolinas. And we've got beaches. We've got, I've got beaches, and Iffy's got beaches, but TN does not. But long story short is this. A lot of people want to say metal detector testing basically test gardens, well, you can gain a little bit, etc. But me testing over the years in mild soil has this pattern evolved. TN does not get the depth that I get. Iffy does not get the depth that I get. But here's the deal. The detectors that test the deepest in my mildest soil, I'll let you guess what are the deepest detectors in their soil. Yeah. So through multi-frequency or around multi-frequency detectors, that pattern has evolved, or has held true. For what has tested the deepest here, what I've seen them test and communicated with them has held out in their soil, which is more moderate. Now, somebody might start talking about highly mineralized dirt. I'm not talking about that because if I lived in an area that had highly mineralized dirt, I would be using a PI machine to hunt relics. I would not, in my opinion, waste my time so much with a VLF machine. So we're talking about mild to moderate dirt. The detectors that have tested the deepest over the years in my mild dirt have tested out from what they've shared with me and we've talked about, seem to be the deepest detectors in their soil. And that's very interesting. Now, we're going to kick over and we're going to talk about these iron tests. Iffy Signals has a set of blocks. Very, very nice set of testing blocks. TN has his coolers, and then I have my back patio where we test different iron configurations. And I have some in-ground iron tests too. But a lot of people will say, well, those tests mean absolutely nothing because they're not done in the ground. Wrong. We all, the three that I've just mentioned, have communicated with companies, and I know that companies pay attention. And I personally asked one of the owners of a company, a major metal detecting company, about the information contained in these on top of the ground iron tests, and I was told that they contain very valuable information. Are they end-alls? No, because you could have highly mineralized dirt or etc. But here again, guess what? The detectors that have tested out the best in the on top of the ground, which is a constant because air, we've removed the soil, is a constant variable there, air. Of course, you could have EMI and different variables, but for all practical purposes, the air, a constant variable. The detectors that have been the best in the unmasking test, guess what? They have been the best unmaskers in the ground too. So, with that being said, I'm going to show a very simple test here in just a second of for those people who do not believe that these tests show anything, and I've got a couple of questions about it, but I'm going to give a couple of more shout outs because I've seen a lot more comments. So, let me go back here. What's up, Future Bleach? What's going on? I had so much that gold found the last target ready to leave after junk day. Yes, I love that when it happens. What's up, Trevor? What's going on, Happy? I would just quit detecting if I had to listen to it. Yeah, me too. But we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you guys just a real quick on top of the ground test. And I want to talk to you guys about it. And really, it's not for you guys. The people that hang out here really are in the know. There's a lot of people who think they're in the know, but they don't know jack. So let's look at this video just for a few minutes. We'll come back and that'll set the stage for the detector testing. Then we'll look at the triple score and some of the amazing things. And I mean, literally, it's amazing what Nokta has done with the beach program on that machine. It really, really is. And that ain't no bull crap there. So let's look at this video real quick and I'll be right back with you guys. Let's pull it up here and let's go. All right, guys, I'm out here today and I've got 4 metal detectors from the highest to the lowest end. We're going to run them over a very simple test today. And this video is basically for the naysayers who say that there's no valuable information gained from testing metal detectors. That is a dime laying
between
two nails.
Scenarios, etc., etc. Let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. Different soils will test at different depths. If you have a more highly mineralized soil, you will not achieve the depths that I'm able to achieve here. But on these nail tests, in these iron configurations, we're removing the soil and we're making a constant variable, air. Yes, there's EMI and other such things, but over my years of testing, there's been a pattern. Normally, the better detectors, 100% of the time that I've seen, test out better on these tests than the inferior detectors. Some of these guys in the metal detector community say, well, you can only tell if you drag them out to the field and this, that, and the other. And my thing is with that is how are you rating the detector? Off of what you find? Let's say that you take this Minelab Voyager out here that I got today and you go to a virgin relic site and all the relics are 2 inches and you find all this stuff, and then you go to another site that's been hard hit for years and basically sifted out with a Manticore, and you go over and you find nothing. Are you going to rate the Voyager over the Manticore? Well, that kind of data is useless. Now, if you drag both around in the field for thousands and thousands and thousands of targets and you compare the two, then you got some useful data. But I'm just not going to do that because there is a more efficient way to gauge the potential of a metal detector, and I'm going to show you something today. I'm going to show you all 3 of these just real quick, and then we're going to talk about it. And join me on the live tonight, and we're going to really dive deep into this. So, we got the Manticore set up in all-terrain, low conductors. Very simple nail test. Iron volume off. Detector engaged. No problem. Hits it every time, right? We're going to go to the next highest priced one. That is the Minelab Elite solid performing detector. Kind of Equinox-y type deal with this. There's the signal. Watch this. Let's cut the iron volume off. Look at the screen. Absolutely no problem. Let's go over to the triple score. And watch this. We'll cut the iron volume off. Okay. Yep, we ain't even noise canceling the units. Look at this test. Smacks it, absolutely no problem. Let's get the Voyager out. Oh, we even had it running. Now watch this. You see anything? You hear anything? Couple of nail falses. There you go. Very, very basic test. So what does that tell us? What information did we gain from that? Well, from that little test itself, we can kind of start going, we might need to look at this Voyager more in different iron configurations and see how it does. Well, I can already tell you, it stinks. The Voyager is not an iron unmasking machine, but certain communities, certain people in our metal detecting community will tell you that that test cannot prove that. That you need to drag that Voyager basically out into the field for 100 hours and compare head to head with the Manticore, because these tests are totally useless. Really? Well, if you want to be that guy and drag a Voyager around, compare it to a Manticore or an Elite or a Triple Score for 100 hours, be my guest. But I already know that the Voyager is subpar to the Triple Score and the Elite, and I've never left my yard in iron unmasking. Now, I'm not going to bore you, but I could take you around to my test garden that I've had planted for years, and I could show you how the Voyager is subpar in mild soil that I have compared to these other detectors, probably by 6 inches, maybe even 7 inches on certain targets. Do I need to take that to the field and prove that? Or did I just prove that in my yard? Now, okay, you're going to say, well, that's a cheap Amazon detector. Well, let's chase that argument down just a few more minutes. If we can prove that with the Voyager, why can't we take these 3 detectors and start proving it or checking these detectors and making these tests tougher? 3D iron elevated nail test, which is more real world situation than say Monty's nail bore test. This is more Monty's nail bore test, but we've taken it to a different level with 3D iron unmasking test. And that's more realistic in my opinion, but we can start running all these different nail configurations. And yes, I know it's not an end-all because the soil has been removed, and mineralized dirt, in moderate dirt, and mild dirt, all will make a detector behave differently, and it will affect the performance of the detector. But if the detector is starting out as far behind as the Voyager, then there's no way that putting it in the ground is going to help that detector catch up.
All right, guys. So, for the people out there who do not think that these tests have any valid results or valid information, what is your guys' opinion? Metal Detecting Northwest Wisconsin, I believe, is a fan of the Garrett Vortex. I hope that you will give us your results with the Vortex when you get one on your test garden, as we will be testing the Garrett Vortex with these same standardized tests that we test all of the latest and greatest detectors on. And we know the behaviors of the latest and greatest detectors. We know the behaviors of the best detectors, the best unmaskers, the deepest detectors, modern trash. Why? Well, we've tested on modern trash in our yards. TN's done a ton of videos. Ify's done a ton of test videos. I've done a ton of test videos over the years of these metal detectors. What you're seeing there is now we know from that test, that one test, but maybe I'm speaking from experience here. Maybe I should have showed a little more, but I could set up more nail configurations, random nail configurations, and I could have showed you the Manticore, the Elite, and the Triple Score just blistering the Voyager. But if the Voyager is showed to be subpar in those tests, then shouldn't we be able to test the Manticore, the Deus 2, the Legend, the Elite, the Triple Score, and set up configurations and look at those detectors' behaviors and look at the potential unmasking capabilities of those detectors and glean which one looks to be ahead of the rest, or they ties, or whatever however it plays out. Yes, we will introduce soil, and you will have to take detectors to the field, but you know which detectors are worthy. And I've said this a million times before you ever take them to the field. Would you guys take the Voyager to the field? And here's an offer. If you guys do not believe that those tests are valid and you want the Voyager, I will mail it to you at my cost. You put 100 hours of head-to-head comparisons in the field, in an iron patch, and in depth, and show us the results. And I will publish it. If you're one of those people and you want to spend 100 hours with that detector, which clearly in a very simple test is so far behind, I'll send it to you. So, for all the naysayers out there and the people in the don't know, well, on this channel, me and my crowd are in the know. You don't know what you don't know. So let's get back over here and let me look at the comments. And what's going on, Treasure Finder 66? Lance said he's in his test garden a couple of hours a week. Valuable information gained from a test garden. There's also valuable information gained, and as you've seen, Lance has got videos up on his channel of elevated nail test, iron, test. And I know that there's variables in the field, but the way that it has proven out all through the years that I've been doing this, and I think that I'm not going to speak for Iffy, and I'm not going to speak for TM, but I assume that they would probably agree that the ones that test out the best wind up being the best unmaskers. The one that tests in the test garden is the deepest in their soil winds up being the, you know what I mean? We have never seen a detector start out behind and then pull ahead in the field in head-to-head comparisons. And that's just the way it is. So very, very valuable information here, to be found. Treasure Finder 66, we're going to show some of his stuff. Machine with the Vortex, fun to see how it performs. I'm going to see how it performs. If it keeps up with the other ones, I'm going to show it. If it does not keep up with the other ones, then we're going to have to talk about it. So we will get to that. We will cross that bridge when we get to it, and see what happens. Let's see here. Jay Hopkins says he's bought a Manticore about 2 weeks ago. I've tested in my garden several times in all different modes against the Deus 2 in depth. I couldn't see a substantial difference between the two. Very, very good. It's, in my opinion, Jay, the Manticore, from what I've tested in the Deus 2, like on the beach and all, it's just like both detectors will hit a 15-inch nickel on the beach, but to me it seems like the Manticore, the way it reports on it, may have a little bit of edge. In my yard, the Manticore does handle the EMI a little better, so I can get a little bit deeper report on a target. Not saying the Deus won't hit it, but I can get a more robust, that ain't the right word, I just can hear the tone a little more crisp than the Deus 2, but not a substantial difference at all, really. Trevor says he always air tests. It worked for me. Gives me a good idea what to expect while actually detecting. I found my testing alone to be pretty dang accurate when compared to actually being, and we have too. So a lot of these people, and my wife talks about this, are operating from a different knowledge base. And they just assume that we're just standing over coolers or back decks or blocks and never actually hunting or looking at detectors in the field, and that is just not the case. It's just so much easier and so much more efficient to test metal detectors like this than to drag 3 detectors around in the field and try to, because here's the deal, you may never find any data in the field that proves one way or the other. Let's say that you're on a site and all the coins are 6 inches. Well, you know what I'm saying? You've got to find the right mass target to show that one detector has an advantage over that. Well, what are the odds of finding that? Well, it doesn't matter. It could be very high odds, against you, but here's the deal. Looking at these tests and these different configurations, these 3D iron elevated nail tests and all that, you know which one has the probability of giving you the best advantage from the test alone. Now, With that being said, you may never find a target that is configured like that, but you might, and it might be a gold coin. It might be a $1. It might be the biggest, fattest $22,000 gold ring. So it's just knowing that this detector has the probability of outdoing this detector. You may, and again, I can't see in the ground. Neither when you take a detector to the field can you test it. Can you see the configuration in the ground? You know, so you may waste days, hours, months, thousands of hours trying to gather data on a detector and that's not how the detector companies do it. The detector companies gain this data in controlled environments. Yes, they send it out to field testers, but the initial data is gained where? Do you think the XP just threw a beta version and grabbed a MindLab machine and run out to the field and compared them head to head over 1,000 wild targets? Well, first of all, you got to find that. How long does that take? You got to find 1,000 targets. You know, have I seen 1,000 targets all diving out? You know what I mean? Summer, I don't know, but let's see here. When will XP address the issue with the 7, 8, 9 readings amongst iron? They said it's not an issue from what I seen on one of the lives. So if you don't, well, there you go, TN. That is actually a very good a comment that Sharpshooter just made. He says, if you don't look at detectors, how do you know what standout behavior or a belly flop performance looks like? If you only use one brand of detector, you won't know how, you know, and not everybody tests metal detectors. That's what this channel's for. It's what TN's channel's for, IFI's channel's for. Not everybody has the time nor the desire. They need information, and that's why we, I believe, are the no BS people on YouTube, you know, putting out information on these detectors. Now, you can't know how good your detector is unless you compare it to another one, but you may not have the time. You may not have the money to buy another, but that's why we're here. And that's why we do what we do, to put the information out there. Then when you make a purchase, you've made an educated purchase on what you're buying, whatever price range you're in. If you send it to me, I'm not turning loose of my Manticore with the 9-inch coil. I really like that 9-inch coil. I think I spend equal time I spend more time hunting than I do testing. I've done all of my hunting this summer has been underwater, but it's still the same principle. I am metal detecting underwater in iron. It's the same principle as me hunting on land. So I'm spending time with the detector. I'm watching behaviors underwater, and a lot of those behaviors are the same underwater. I do believe the iron may be amplified underwater, but I'm going to have to prove that one day. Since I bought them in May of this year, I wouldn't waste the time since I bought them in May of. Well, why did you, Quincy? I got a question. You wouldn't waste the time testing? Is that what you're saying? Well, my question to you is why did you buy the Manticore? Is it because some of us tested it and told you that it was a good detector, or is it because you watched some YouTube videos of people finding stuff? If you'll answer that question, that would be really good. Why did you buy the Manticore? Is it because people tested it and knew that it was out of this world performance, or, you know, that's my question. So I'd like to see what Quincy. I have one silver quarter. I don't go on that either. In May of this year, my finds of silver and even gold have shot up seriously. I don't base detectors off of what I find, because I found a lot of stuff for the AT Pro, and it's clearly not the performer the Manticore is, or the Deus 2. There's things that the Manticore and the Deus 2 will hit that the AT Pro, but at that time I thought the AT Pro was the cat's meow. But I don't base stuff off of finds. I do not do that. I think that, you know, I have laid data down where I've went back to sites that I have pounded, but there's a lot of variables in that. If the site's been pounded and I start finding numerous things, then yeah, I kind of know something's up, but that's always tied back to my testing. I see it in the testing first, and you know, and it links in together when that happens. So that is one common denominator. The detectors that usually can go into the sites that I pounded usually test out the best, or 100% of the time over the last 8 years of testing have tested out the best. So And I can't find it. That's good. What's up, Mystic? What's going on? What's up? Hey, I appreciate it. Just paid my dues and sessions. Hey, I appreciate it. Here's a good one. How come everyone leaves coin spills that have nickels mixed in? Because they don't sound like coins. That's a good one. That is a good one. What's up, Jason? You know, I don't run into that so much because I'm relic digging. Hey, let me show you guys something while I got you here. Let me see here. I don't know which camera it's going to show up best on. Maybe this one. Let me change cameras, but let me go get the stunner. And then we'll get over to the, yeah, there we go. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me go get something here, and I want to show you guys what I found this week. And Flagman was whipping the mess out of me. So let's see here. Come on, focus. Come on, light. Is it showing on the screen? Or is it dog? Hold on. We can fix it. Hold on just a minute, guys. I'm going to make this work. You guys hold on. I got to show you this. So let's cut this light on. We'll get a little light behind the scene. Now let's try it like this. Let's see here. There we go. Look at that. Ooh, baby. What do you think about that one? That is a good one there. Look, can you guys see that right there? Let's see there. 30. It looks like it's showing up pretty good right there. It's probably backwards. It might not be mirrored, but that's my button for the week. So let me cut this light back off. Well, hold on. Can you guys... 33rd. There it is, guys. You see that? Is it backwards? Let me mirror this thing. Hold on just a second, guys. I'm having technical difficulties. Let's look at it like this. Let's see if that fixed it. Well, there we go, guys. You guys see that right there? 33rd British Infantry. Revolutionary War button right there, guys. That is one stunner. I'm still stoked about that. I guess you guys can hear how I'm talking about it. That is a good one. So put that back in the case for safekeeping. And let me get back to the comments because we're going to look over real quick at Bass Trackerman's videos in just a second. So let me get through the comments and we'll get to that. What's going on, Jason? Appreciate it, Stink. Your last video was, hey, I appreciate it, man. Good. Have you yet tried underwater? I remember what you said. Yeah, it's a lot similar. As Garrett said, any more about a release date for the Vortex? I have not. Waste of time testing the Voyager. I got you. That's what I was wondering if you were talking about just waste of time testing, period. Has Garrett said any more about a release date for the Vortex? Have not heard anything about it. But it will get run through its paces too, through the same test. And, you know, the chips will fall where they fall. That club will find it more stuff than me. All of the people with tons of silver every month were, gotcha, Quincy. I got you. So the evidence stacked up that it was doing something on the ground you're working in, and it's difficult. You got to base the detector on the ground you're working and its difficulties. That's true. So my test garden basically falls in the ground that I'm working. But what I want to say, Jason, is taking out Virginia Culpeper dirt, Arizona dirt, Colorado dirt, not that highly mineralized dirt. We're going to call mild to moderate dirt on the East Coast. Me testing in my mild dirt, as far as depth goes, has held true that the deepest detector in my mild soil has tested out the deepest up in Iffy's test garden and in TN's area. So, you know, I think that probably would hold true for Treasure Finder 66 as the Manticore being one of the deepest. I would say that probably in his test garden, what me and him's talked about, the Manticore is super deep. So that's one piece of the puzzle there that we have gained in this community, knowing that we have different types of soil, but me having the mildest of all of them soil, I do believe, the detectors that are deepest here wind up testing out the deepest there. So it's almost like the ones that are ahead in the mild soil carry over, and it loses some, but it carries over into the more moderate soil. And I think it's fair to say that most of these multi-frequency detectors that we see recently handle mild to moderate soil very well, minus the super hot dirt. It does beat the Equinox 800 in iron. Metal Detecting Northwest. What's going on there, Metal Detecting Northwest Georgia? Tell us about your experience with this. Have the detectors that you've tested in standardized test or controlled test work the best that perform the best in those situations? Have they seemed to work out in the field the best? Do you follow that same train of thought, or has that been your experience? Share with us and let us know. Makes it easier to find nickels in it, but probably that thing is hot on nickels. Learn so much from watching tests. Yes, you can learn a lot from what. Let's see here. Delta Fresh Relic says, I got pounded small sights where I know the location of many iron targets and can walk right to them. So when the triple Deus 2 starts pulling buttons and cobs, you know something is up. Yep. And what does a triple and the Deus 2 do? They test out above other metal detectors. You know what I mean? So it all ties. That's what I'm trying to say. These people say that this stuff doesn't mean anything. All of this stuff is linked. The testing shows these detectors ahead of other detectors, and you take them to the field, and this stuff, the evidence weighs out. People are pulling silvers with a Manticore. They're pulling stuff for the triple score. They're pulling stuff for the Deus 2, where they have pounded with past technology detectors and lesser performing detectors, and this stuff all ties in together. So let's go on down a little bit further. Jason, what we got going on? 33rd, appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, that got me fired up. I was getting my rear end kicked. Flagman had got two bottles, and I was just heartbroken. I didn't have anything. And then, man, I pulled that second tank, and I went up into this area, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go up just a little bit more. And I went up a little more, and that button was laying there. I got two buttons there, actually. One of them being the marked one, and another one just a straight flat button. I don't know. I had to research it. I know I've got another 33rd that I got in another place, but it's the indented, like etched 33rd, and that being the raised letters. So very, very interesting. Well, let's see here. We're getting a little bit dark looking. I may have to change my... Hold on a minute, guys. The light is going down, and let's see if we can pull the brightness up just a little bit. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Oh, man, I got all kinds of comments. Joe, hey, I appreciate it, Joe. I appreciate you saying that, and, that's what we're all about here. The M9, yes, they do, from what I've seen. So his experience has been mirroring ours a little bit. Worthless. There we go. Scott says amounts of or types of fines are worthless in comparisons. I found tons of silver with a $99 bounty hunter Quicksilver in my early days. I wouldn't take it out and leave the Deus 2 at home. Right. And I asked this question, before. What if you were, rating detectors like that, and you took the Deus 2 to a beat up site and you found 4 little artifacts or 2 artifacts or 3 artifacts because the place has been pillaged for 50 years. And then you take the bounty hunter to a virgin yard and you pull out 9 silver coins. Oh, you see what I'm saying? There is a big danger in rating detectors off of fines. Yes, you can see patterns develop like on sites that you've been to before, and you may know those sites like Delta Fresh Relics knows, and you can see those patterns develop, and then you can make a conclusion. But it all mirrors back, and it's all tied back into the way that the detectors test out. The ones that do that and unlock those sites always, from 100% of the time from what I've seen, test out the best when compared to other detectors. So, and to be fair, the detector testing, the performance is getting closer as we advance, especially in the last 2 years. And Nokta's up in their game, and it's getting, it's getting closer. So that big divide that we've seen, and we're going to talk about that. Don't let me forget, how long have I been on here? 40 minutes, and I've not even got to Treasure Finder 66 stuff. But that performance gap, and we're fixing to look at a $479 detector tested in the Gulf of Mexico that is really close to the Manticore and the Deus 2 in beach performance on a gold ring. What did I just say? Yeah, so hold on for that thought. Hold on for that just for a minute. M9 coil trippers prove its power as well. Yes, I love the Manticore. The triple outperforms the I've tested double score against the Legend, and Legend was good a bit at unmasking at depth. I don't know, Lance. I almost think that the triple score beats the Legend on the beach. I almost know it does if the Legend updates have not changed the beach performance from when I tested it prior to some of these updates. Treasure Finder 66 says, I test every detector I buy. I have an age test garden for some, iron tested and air tested. Gives me a good, yes. That right there, what he said right there, it jumped, but it gives you good info of what to expect. Hey, don't it give you the info that you need to know whether you even want to take the metal detector out? You know what I mean? So, what's going on, USMC? Let's see here. With a make scene, yes, that's killer there. That's killer information. What's going on, Ryan? Late to the party again? I have a bad habit of carrying a pocket full of whatnots for me to keep my mind right. Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's good. Let's kick over since we've been in this live so long. Let's kick over. I'm going to show you real quick what this is the ring. You guys see it up here that Treasure Finder 66 took to the Gulf of Mexico today and buried. So he's taken the triple. He is the one who found the problem with the iron, it calling targets iron pre-update, pointed it out to me. I took it, ran with it, took it to the beach and tested it, made videos on it, and Nokta got the ball rolling. And, you know, we ain't no fanboys here, but where credit is due, I'm going to give credit. And they did something super extraordinary with this metal detector. And I'm going to show you real quick his test, and we'll be back. This won't be but just a couple of minutes, but check the triple score and the elite out on the beach. So you see the ring there? Watch this.
All right, guys, I'm out here today, and I've got 4 metal detectors from the highest to the lowest end.
Not what we want. There.
Okay, there's water in the hole. You got the mark right there. That is the foot mark right between them marks. That's about a foot deep. Here's the elite. 12-inch ring.
Pretty impressive.
Raising the foil up about maybe 2 inches.
Okay, so I talked to Treasure Finder 66. He says elite was hitting it with coil on ground, could lift the triple 1 to 2 inches above. We'll be conservative, we'll say 1 inch. And that is the same exact thing that I showed you on a North Carolina beach last week. Elite hitting it, triple being able to be raised an inch, inch and a half more. On the 4 gram gold ring that I have, his is a 3.5 gram ring, and that is what Nokta has done with the beach. He also commented that the machine was super stable, and he jacked the sensitivity up and ran it at 15, and the lady that he was hunting with was running the elite at 21, and you know that was about all she could get out of that detector and it still be stable. And that is my exact findings here, 20, 21 on the elite. Now I ran the triple in my test at 12 and 13. And particularly 12 is where I tested the elite, the triple here. So I didn't run it quite as hot, but Carolina Digger ran his hot, and he could deal with a little, because he's used to hunting with a Manticore. And here's the thing, the elite, the triple score at 12 is more stable than the Manticore in the Deus 2. And that's a fact. Now I'm not saying that it'll hit when the Manticore and the Deus 2 are set up in beach sensitive or beach low conductor, I'm not saying that it'll hit tinier gold than those two detectors, but I'm saying as far as stability goes, it is stable. It's more stable than those two detectors set up in their sensitive programs near that salt water. With that being said, too, you're talking 13 inches on a ring. There's not that much difference on a Manticore, 14, 15 inches, 16 inches on a nickel. So, with that price difference, Nokta has really done something there. The Elite's no slouch either. But I have, a vested interest in the Triple because I tested it, and I reported feedback to it, and I feel a sense of, hey, I helped them, or we helped them. Treasure Finder 66 found it, and as a community, we helped them. So I want to point out something too here, and I want to show, give me just a second, I want to kick over because I want to show you what we're doing as a community. Thomas sent me this right here, and I don't know if you guys can read that, but he's basically saying that he's in Florida. He saw the same thing that Treasure Finder 66 saw. He updated his machine, and he went back out, and he is digging, and Treasure Finder 66 dug iron today and said that none of the iron was non-ferrous, so the machine didn't lie to him today. And Thomas basically is mirroring the same thing here. He's saying that he took it out, he updated it. At first, it was to dig a couple of 810 signals in the wet sand, and it was coins and stuff, but then he updated it, took it out, no more 8 and 10s, dug a bunch of 8 and 10 signals, all was iron, and he included a pic of what all he found right there, you guys can see. So as a community, we have gathered information from Northeast Beach on Florida, the Gulf Coast, and a beach here in North Carolina, and we have showed the performance of that machine, on these beaches. So that is great, very, very good data for Nokta, and even better data for the consumer that's bought the Triple Score, because that is pretty amazing that $479 machine is behaving like that on the beach, and we're getting all of that, for the money. The Elite is a higher price metal detector, and it seems like the Triple has slight advantage on depth on the saltwater beach. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Updated to 1.2 yesterday. So that's good. That's a good comment, Delta Fresh Relics. It is available. If you own a Triple, go update it. Let's see here. Hi all. I'm a low budget underwater hookah diver with a Deus 2, but I love this type of greedy. Hey man, you got a hookah and a Deus 2. That's not low budget. That sounds like high budget hookah diving, but how are you doing over there? You finding some stuff? I have really just cleaned up on underwater sites that have been pillaged over the years with Excaliburs and Tesoros. I have really, really cleaned up and found some good stuff underwater with that Deus 2. I've had some issues. I've got some remotes up there that do not work. I've had some coil issues, but I spend a lot of time underwater. But I'll just be honest with you, I really don't care because the performance there, and it has a 5-year warranty. So, if something tears up, they'll replace it. So I really don't care. But I've got a few remotes up there with speaker issues, a couple flooded, and some coil floods and just different things. But you got to think about what I'm talking about here, guys. I'm spending on a dive trip. If I'm detecting, I may be underwater at 30 feet for 6 hours, or on the whole day. It's just a coordinate 20 feet. If I dive 3 tanks, it's all dependent. But in shallow 15, 20 foot water, I'm burning 2.5 hours on a 133. So you got to think about it. That's a long time for a machine underwater beat. So could it be better? Maybe, but it has a 5-year warranty, and I'm happy with that part. Salt sensitivity adjustment like the Deus 2 and the Manticore, and yes, that would be actually good. And you got to think about that. If it had that Manticore is a bad piece of equipment. I've had my Deus 2 since release. Cool, man, cool. But I really wanted to talk about and really kind of dive into detector testing. These people that say this don't mean it. So basically, let's say that we have a new detector come out from a new company, and this is what people want you to believe. And I don't like this. It's marketing, and hey, that surrounds a lot of stuff. But I've seen it. I've seen it with different, people say it. But, you got to take that detector to the field for 100 hours to figure. It don't take me 100 hours to figure out how a metal detector runs and performs. I can figure out pretty quickly around with what I've been doing and messing with these detectors. They all have similarities. They all have similar settings. And it just does not take. Now, it may take you 100 hours to figure the nuances of this and that and all that, but a lot of those nuances can be figured out in the test that we've done. How to deep target sound, how to mask target sound. And then you bypass that 100-hour learning curve that a lot of the people in the don't know, try to promote. And it also will, promote a detector that's subpar more. Oh, you can't tell. You can't tell. Oh, yes, we can tell. Yes, we can. And the evidence holds true over all these detectors over the last 8 years of testing. Yeah, we can tell. We can tell which ones is the cat, or which ones are the cat's meow, and which ones are not. A lot of times, especially in my soil. Now, your mileage may vary in your soil, but you guys let me know if this trend holds out. I know that with my friends, the trend has held out. Whatever's been the deepest here, whatever's unmasked on these nail configurations, they've probably come away or seem to have come away with the same results, or the conclusions, pretty much that I have. And we talk amongst one another. I talk to Iffy quite regularly. I talk to Sharpshooter regularly, and he's got some things going on with the frequency shift on the Deus 2, which is very interested in sensitive full tones, and he's been messing with that for a few days, and that's a very interesting thing. So if you guys want to go over there and look at that, it's a very interesting concept with the frequency shift on the Deus 2. As it shifts, it changes the frequency. Even multi-frequency runs frequencies. You know what I mean? So if you lower the frequency, you may lose a little unmasking in the frequency shift on a super highly masked, low to mid-conductive target. And there's more testing to be done with it, but TN is the first one that has found this or showed this, and it's an interesting thing to look at and think about. If you're trying to get or have your Deus 2 all that can be, getting every little ounce of performance out of it, it's just another one of those things. Let me look right here. I floated 2 J.W. Fisher pulsators. It's going to happen. Yeah. And we had a problem. Flagman had a problem with a remote that got water in it, and it wasn't acting right a couple of weeks ago, and sent it in, replaced, sent right back using brand new remote. But I do have a backup. I have a few Deus 2s. XP sent me, one to test, and then I purchased a couple of remotes, and this, that, and the other as backups, because the last thing I want to do is be on a week dive trip and have a detector breakdown. I have enough Deus 2s. We're running about 4 Deus 2s on the boat. So he has 2, I have 2, so we have a total of 4 dive units on the boat. And you know what? We're doing this, you know what I mean? It's not like just going out down the road where I can run back to the house. We're traveling, 12, 15. We rode like 11 hours this week, one way, and I just want that security of that, But I have the same remote that I have had from the beginning, and I'm using that one underwater. That is my primary remote, and we're going to see how long it lasts. But it's got a ton of time underwater. Sharpshooter says he's got more coming on the Deus 2 video-wise concerning the frequency shift tomorrow. That is a very interesting find that you found right there, Sharpshooter. It's one of those things that we need to look at if it gives you an extra performance advantage. And guess how he found it? He didn't find that hunting out in the field, because more than likely, you never would have found that if you so-called called yourself testing in the field. He found that by testing on his coolers and doing controlled environment tests. And I know that everybody doesn't want to do that. You don't have to. You have us. But know that the results are important to the manufacturers. They want to know what those results are too, and they can make adjustments, off of those results for unmasking, et cetera, et cetera. So, the soil does play a part, but, normally what we've seen is the ones that test ahead in the air and the ones that test ahead in my mild soil have all played out testing ahead in the moderate dirt too. So, let's see here. You heard it crazy how channel 1 didn't pick up the gold. Yeah, and I think that has to do with how much frequency shift that it changes. So going from, say, 40 kilohertz down to 35 kilohertz, that 5 kilohertz range, you lose a little bit. And you can see this if you're in on the Deus 2 and you're testing, let's say a gold coin. And guys, when I remodeled my house, I do not know where I put my gold coin. That thing is worth about $300 or $400, and I don't know where I put my gold coin. That is just heartbreaking because I've used that in a lot of tests, and it shows a very good example. But if you have my gold coin, which I hope I find, laying beside a nail and another nail, and I know you can do different configurations or whatever, but let's say you have that detector and it'll pick that gold coin out in 40 kilohertz. You switch it to 24 and that gold coin will go null and void and it won't see it. And I think that's what's happening, what Sharpshooter showed in the frequency shift. You're coming off the 40 or 42, whatever the high end it goes up at channel 6 down to 35 or whatever it runs down at the low end. And that 5 kilohertz is making that difference in the unmasking capability onto that low to mid conductive ring and that iron. But I have seen that not with the frequency shift, but with just changing the max frequency itself, of going from the max frequency 14, 24, 40. On mid to low conductors, 40 will hit things that 24 won't. 24 will hit mid to low conductors that 14 will not hit. So that I think that's what he's found there is that frequency shift going. But he's on that one. Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. And he's found, and to be honest with you, I believe that Sharpshooter, and I know for a fact, not believe, has found more he's found more glitches and stuff with the machines than we have. He's better at that than I am. I don't have the patience for that. I like to test scenarios and change this and that, but he would go through mashing buttons and just, check and set. And there's variables. I mean, there's so many variables or configurations of the detector. These detectors can be sent thousands, Let's see what we got here. Hold on a minute. I got a text coming in. Let me look right here. What is this? Iffy, that's funny. I'm not going to show that on camera, but that's really funny. That's like serious shields right there, man. I'm not going to show it, but I want to, but I'm not. That's the shield deal there, boy. Let me plug my phone up, guys. It's going dead here. Let's see what we got here. Northwest Georgia's Rattlehead's got something here. Let me see what here. Let's see here. Puts a ton of time. Digger Dawn says 1,000 hours to figure out a detector. That's 8 hours to promote the Vortex. Imagine if I had more settings. You want me to say something about that right there? That's BS. I'm not saying that you can't become like some kind of zen in 1,000 hours with a metal detector, but come on, man. Oh, boy. Yeah, 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours before you can figure out if a detector's a piece of junk or not. Sure, I can tell you that with what we've developed over the years in testing regiments, I can tell you pretty quick if I think one's a piece of junk or if one's got some outstanding characteristics. It don't take long, Now, can I tell you I know every nuance, tonal nuance? No, I can't tell you that. But I can stand there and I can figure out what settings to put that detector in to get the depth out of it, to get the separation out of it by the standardized test that we have. Let's see here. Metal Detecting Northwest, Georgia says, for you guys that have some pull with the manufacturers, I sure would love to have a way to say multiple disc patterns for each search. Yes, I agree. I think Sharpshooter was on some of that, talking about that with MindLab maybe. I don't know. He said something about it to me that he had, I don't know, something about it. But yeah, that actually would be a very good thing. We're at it. The ability to hear iron tone with discriminate horseshoe off on the Deus 2. I'd love to have the ability to normalize TDI across all programs similar to version 7.1. That would be good too. I know that you're a coin hunter and those IDs are really, really important for what you do. Have you been finding a lot of stuff this year? I haven't been. Man, I ain't had much time to follow anybody. I know you killed it with that Deus 2. Are you still finding a good many? What's going on, Iffy Signals? I brought up your name a few times tonight. It took 7 minutes to know Garrett is not competing. Well, I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm just going to chuckle. We'll deal with that when it comes out. And what's up, Jimmy? We'll deal with that when it comes out, and we'll see what happens. What time is it, guys? It's 20 till 8. But yeah, man. So that's the deal with testing. Let's see what else we got here to talk about. Let me get comfortable in my chair for a few more minutes. We've been on an hour, but well, I lost my train of thought. That is the bad thing about a live stream. There is no edit button, but been a great week diving, man. I mean, I just had so much fun. We went in there and I found that button and he got those black glass bottles. What'd you think about that gator? I didn't have my zoom lens on, but that gator was probably 40 yards down the creek from where we were diving. And you see him come swimming at the boat. He didn't act like I thought he was going to act. He kind of charged like at the boat, you know, but he never come up and seen us. I seen another 3-footer, 4-footer up there where we were diving. There was a 4-footer, but that's not really big enough to worry me too much. And I kind of okay with the smaller gator because it kind of makes me think maybe there ain't a big one there, you know, because he normally would eat the little ones. But I'm not saying there wasn't a big one there, but I was feeling a little bit, or at least I was lying to myself and making myself feel a little better. And then a little 3-footer come out while I was shooting video right before I was about to go down, and he swam out and looked at us, and I was like, you swim over here, buddy, and I'm going to tag you with a smell detector in the head. But he wasn't big enough to hurt me. But that one laying on the bank, you know, probably 7 foot, 6, 7 foot, you know, it had enough size on him I wouldn't want to tangle with him, but when they start getting up there in that 8, 10 foot, 12 foot range, I'm not getting in the water if I see one. But that area, you know, was very, very productive for us. Very old area that we were diving, but just a gator hole. So I kind of keep the boat close and dive real close to the boat. I don't make long runs when I'm diving like that. And, you know, so there's other people on here I know that know about those alligators that live in different places. And, they can be kind of sketchy and tricky. So, but yeah, I wanted that button, but didn't get, you know, the gator stayed away, so that's good. Let's see what here. Silver count is down, but been doing pretty well with silver ore relics. Got a breastplate and a box plate. Hey man, congrats on that. I don't know. Did you see that Rev War button I got, the 33rd? Let me flash that thing up. I got to show you guys this one more time. Let me drop a live. Let me airdrop one of these and show it. I mean, man, this is just, I'm still stoked about it, guys. Let me see if I can airdrop this over and pull it in. Let's see, where did it go? There it is. Let me airdrop that into the current scene. There it is. So there's my 33rd. Man, I am so, that one there is going to stay in the collection. That one there will probably be there when I'm fly off to heaven, and the kids will probably give it away. But that's the 33rd that I found, a good close-up shot. You can see the border around it, not much. There's a little bit on the left, just a little bit of edge. Not really edge loss, but just a little scuff on the left there. But other than that, a pretty stunning button to, you know, when you think about how old it is. So that's my find of the week right there. Do I got Flagman stuff? Let me see here. That went to the wrong camera. Of course it did. and I hate when it does that because that camera on my, I guess that would make that understandable. That camera went dead. So we'll use this camera. I got all kinds of cameras around here. I've been trying to figure out the angles, where I could have a good live. But let me pull out flagman stuff here. Let me see if I can find it. Well, I may not have it. Well, let's see here. You guys bear with me just a minute. And I'll see if I can find flagman stuff. But he got a real. He got a real out of a ton of iron. He was just picking the iron out off the bottom and got a real out of it. And he got a, let's see if we can, it needs to be, some people clean them, some people don't, but I'll show it to you guys. It's got awesome detail on it. So give me just a second. Let me pull it over in here and let's see if it pops up. Uh-oh, not in background. We want it to go here. There we go. So let me zoom out on it. You guys can see the detail on that coin. If he cleaned the grunge off of that real, I mean, that thing's got some detail on it. It may have been in a fire. I don't know. I don't know. But you can see it's got pretty sharp detail on it. You guys look at it up close right there. 1781 real. I like my silver. I would like to take if it was mine, I'd take just a little bit of grunge off of it. But I know that some people cringe over that. But yeah, no thanks diving with gators, and water moccasins either. Did y'all see the water moccasin? Yeah, that was interesting. He wasn't scared at all. There was a water moccasin come out of the swamp, live stream together with. Yeah, we have done lives together. I'll invite him on. Maybe go and get your good lit. Yeah, send me some of that Florida style lizards. We don't have as many here. We got some big boys though that could hurt you, but not as many. This guy's nuts. The boat would have been back on the trailer. They don't got them up there in the northern part of the country, do they? Those little suckers are, come on over here, little buddy. Dive her down, man. It's a serious business. I mean, this diving is, and I've talked about this before. Not only do you have wildlife, you've got safety issues, fishing lines, steel leader, snags, hang up. So if you're ever thinking about getting into this type stuff, you need to be mentored. And if you have to pay somebody to do that, spend your hard-earned money because it just might save your life. And, kind of interview the dude that's going to mentor you and see, what I mean, see what his experience is and who taught him and et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of like where I'm at, dark water diving and low visibility diving is a tradition that's been handed down for a few generations now. In those fairly narrow rivers and it was landings. It was ferry crossings, landings. You got to remember that when the people come here to settle, they didn't have highways and they didn't have cars. They used the easiest possible transportation, and what was that? It was water. So good land on the water. Who normally lived on the good land on the water? The Native Americans. Well, what did the white man do? Well, we know he took the land or traded them out with some beads, and but that, and then they settled the land after they run the Native Americans off of it, and that's why we find like the Native American pots, and find colonial artifacts mixed in with it. Not only that, they brought diseases with them, which killed off a lot of the native. Is that a scuff? I don't know. I told Flagman that I almost thought that button had some gilt showing on it, and it's pewter. So I don't know if it was gold gilt, silver wash. I don't know what they had. I don't know what those buttons would have been, but I almost could see it. Kind of a 33rd Regiment formed in 1702. That's crazy, man. That is just crazy. And I've got one of the buttons from when they were in the States. And, I've got a 54th. I've got two 33rds. I've got a 10th. I got a Royal Provincials button. What else do I got? I got an 82nd. And I've seen some different buttons. I've seen Coldstream Guards buttons. Flagman has a Coldstream Guard. He has a KOR, King's Own Rifle. I believe he told me that's what it was. I've seen some exquisite One guy I know has got a light dragoon numbered button. It's the only one known to exist, a USA button. It's not USA on it, but it's a United States regiment. And it's the only, I've seen some very exquisite Rev War buttons in my time. Now, I've not found me one of those. I mean, these are stunners, and I'm happy. And I'd like to find like a Light Dragoon or South Carolina 2 Francis Marion Regiment. And Flagman actually has 2 South Carolina 2s in pristine shape from Francis Marion Regiment. So, yeah, I love the Rev War stuff. That's what really gets me boiling. And it is very, very few and far and hard to find. It's few and far between when looking for Rev War. Let's see what else we got here. Listen to what Calabash is saying about this kind of diving. Don't play around with it and go into a half cock. Treasure fever can blind. Yes, there's dangers, and you know, sometimes I've done things, Blasted Cat, and I don't want to say this, my wife might be watching, but I've done things that probably shouldn't have been done because of treasure fever. Now, I refrain from that now with more experience, but I've been in places I probably shouldn't have been in the summertime, etc., etc. But so badly, Charlotte Water 15, want to buy the Nemo. What easy 9% of detectors don't get in the water? If so, even less. Yes. You know, you can still get hurt with a Nemo, so keep that in mind. You do your homework. You can get hurt and you can drown in a bathtub. So just keep that in mind. You can get hung up with a Nemo. You got to have knives. You got to have lights. You got to know what you're doing. And you know, you need to take a safety course. Don't hold your breath and come up from 15 feet. Will it kill you? It could. It could pop a lung because you got different atmospheric pressure and that air expands. I can see it on my BC, and you can see this happen when I inflate my BC on the bottom and I start rising. Well, as I go up, the air starts expanding and I start moving faster. And sometimes I'll get to moving too fast, and I've got to let the air out. But that's what it does in your lung. So you start down here, you're holding your breath, and your lung is this big. As you come up, the air starts expanding. Boom! And it'll bust your lung and kill you. So that, yeah, it's very serious business. But, you know, once you learn all that, and anyway, we'll save the scuba diving lesson for later. Let's see here. I'm changing the chat. But I'm going to get off of here, guys. That's what I had to say about testing. So for all the naysayers out there, go stick your head in the sand. You don't know what you don't know. We look forward to see what the new latest and greatest with the Garrett Vortex will be. And we'll be testing that. And we're going to dive off of here tonight. Special thanks to Iffy being on here, TN Sharpshooter being on here. And I appreciate it. And I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I'll see you guys next week. I'm headed out again Monday. So stay tuned for a dive video. See you then. Well, if I could finish this thing, figure out what button to mash. You guys hit the like button. I see 65 of you in here. Hit the like button for me. Help me with the algorithm. But let me make sure no more comments. All right, guys. You guys have a great night. The Blackwater Master. Give a shout out to him. He is one of the legends that some of the stuff that he taught people has been handed down to me. I appreciate that, the Blackwater Dive Master. Manager, one thing that really sucks is anything to help with that case. 15 feet is bad. Yeah, you neutralize. You need to learn how to do that. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys later.